Hello folks, my name is Scott Grove, here to teach you how to play the mandolin today. First lessons are always first lessons. Absorb as much as you can, no more than you can. It's like having a wet mop. I'm still trying to mop with it. You can only absorb so much. Do enough that your brain doesn't hurt, then come back to this later. Okay, just don't try to do everything in a day. It's not meant to be. Okay, so do it at your own pace, whatever that pace is. Real quick, I'm not going to teach you certain things, which are things that you can find on Google, and that's like the names of your strings and how to basically tune and goofy little things like that. I will teach you the parts of the mandolin real quick. The top part, that's the top. The sides, that's called the sides. The back of it, that's called the back. Okay? Now what we do have that makes it... I snorted, didn't I? Something that makes a big wahoo about any of this stuff. You have the neck. No, ladies, this is not called a handle. I've heard so many women call that on a guitar or whatever. Yeah, look at the handle on that. It's really... It's a neck. And the thing that's on here, that's called a fretboard or a fingerboard. It has little metal pieces on it. Those are called frets. Okay, we're going to be playing behind those, not on top of them. And I'll show you why in a little bit. This little white piece here, that's called the nut. Okay, this will actually be where everything starts. If I say to play a note open, that means you don't put a finger on the fretboard to play a note. You actually just play it open, okay? And then if I say the first fret, you go to the first fret, you play behind it, not on top of it, not forward, but behind it, directly behind it, not back, or it'll make little farty noises. And if you play on top of it, it won't play, it'll make little farty noises. Like that. I know it doesn't sound like a real fart, but that's a mandolin fart. This up here that the tuners are mounted to is the headstock. Okay, that's just a place for all the tuners to be mounted. And back here is the bridge. Okay, those are the names of everything. Again, you can find those on Google. So you can either rewind this or whatever and know what these are called later. You'll want to be able to tune your mandolin, so you'll go out and more likely buy what's called a headstock tuner. My very favorite is this TC Electronics Polytune. Is it better than all the others as far as these go? Yeah, I'll definitely say yeah. If you ended up with what's called a snark, did you end up with a cheap piece of stuff? No, I can't say if so or not. You're going to be like, well, the TC Electronics costs as much as my mandolin did. Did you buy a cheap mandolin? No, but you're like, I wanted to see if I liked it first before I bought something that's actually playable and will stay in tune. Well, that's where people make some mistakes too. Am I trying to discourage you from playing? No, I'm just trying to get you through this. Okay, tell you how your experience can be better than what it's getting ready to be if you cheaped out really, really, really bad. It's like buying a really cheap gun that shoots sideways and kills your brother or something instead of what you're actually aiming at. Okay, real quick, when you are tuning up, remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. When you tighten a string, the pitch goes up. Okay, it gets tighter. When you loosen it, it goes down. Now, as they always say, hey, the band is tuning up, or he's tuning up his guitar. They never say he's tuning down his guitar. Okay, so if you are tuning, always tune down so that the string is actually flat, as we call it. It's not in tune. It goes below the pitch, and then tune back up to the pitch. Never just tune down to it and let it sit, because it will go out of tune really fast if you don't tune up. Probably the most handy tip you're going to have today. We have 4 sets of identical strings on here. 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, so it could be a 4-string instrument. They do make some electric guitar-shaped looking mandolins that only have 4 strings. Why? I don't know. There's really no sense in that, because the thing about a mandolin is that with the law of physics, the strings are going to go out of tune. Some of them will hold pitch, some of them will be slightly out of tune, because that's what they do. And then the instrument will sound actually bigger when one of the 2 strings that are right next to each other is slightly out of tune. It's what makes them sound as groovy as they do. Okay, we have to play chords. A chord is something that is made up of 2 or 3 notes, anything that's 2 notes or more. Okay? Most people will teach you this same thing over and over and over again. Not a lot of teachers here on YouTube for the mandolin. So, again, a lot of us will teach the same thing. It's just a matter of which teacher you actually like. So I'm going to readjust the camera and put it down here on the mandolin so we can get a tighter shot. All right, so we'll see you down there. Okay, thanks for sticking around with me. We simply have to learn to hold the pick, which is between your thumb and your first finger. How stiff of a pick do you need? Something that is not flimsy. If yours bends real easy, not a good thing. Okay, so get a thicker one. Okay, mine actually has little bumps on it. Will I be able to focus? Yes, there we go. So that it allows it to stick to my hands and my fingers so that I focus. Thank you. So that I will not drop it, which is a good thing. Dropping it stinks. Okay. So again, between your first finger and your thumb, just a little bit sticking out. If you look on the other side, there's a little bit sticking out of there. Don't hold it sideways, don't hold it backward, whatever, just the pointy part sticking out. We will move our wrist. Okay? For the most part, we're not going to be doing that. Some players do. If you catch yourself doing that, hey, that might just be the way your style ends up being. Okay? Sam Bush, look him up. Watch him. He goes quite crazy where other people do not. Okay? So it's just a matter of how your style develops. I'm not going to say do or don't. I'm just going to say it will end up how it will, no matter what I tell you to do. Okay? I'm going to teach you 3 chords, as everybody will. These 3 chords will allow you to play thousands and thousands of songs. People will tell you hundreds. There will be thousands and thousands. Chords that are used in a particular song can be used at your discretion. Some people will change keys in order to make it fit their voice better, if you sing high or if you sing low. So if you happen to sing in a different place, high or low, 3 chords might get you through all the other 3 chord songs that are in the world. And most songs that are going to be in bluegrass or country are going to have 3 chords in them. 4 usually at the most. Today I'm going to teach you 3 chords. Tomorrow I will teach you 3 chords. 2 of them will be the same as today. And on the 3rd day, with what I'm teaching you today, then we'll actually start getting in with the the stuff that gets fun instead of just the chords. Okay, why? Because you have to have some fun with all this instead of just Okay, yeah, that's fine, and it has to be part of what you're doing. What I just showed you is what we're learning today, but it has to be done. Okay, so we'll be learning 3 chords. They're going to be G, C, and D. We are in the key of G. Okay, so you can write that down. This will make a lot more sense later. The key of G is the key the song is in. What does the key mean? That means everything is based on that. It lets everybody else know that you might be playing with what all the other chords will be simply by mentioning what key you're in. They will know that there's going to be a C chord and a D chord in there if you say it's in the key of D. Oh, I'm sorry, if you say this in the key of G. Why? Because it's musician language. They just know it's going to be there. You're going to be like, yeah, it's a 1-4-5 song. I'll teach you what that means later, the Nashville number system. Okay, it's all just a little bit at a time. Again, remember the mop. If it gets too full, you just can't soak it all up. Okay, so to play a G chord, we need a few notes. So what we have is on the high E string, that's the set of 2 strings. I'll probably mention on many occasions just the high E string, even though there are 2 right next to each other. Okay, what we're going to use is our middle finger or our second finger, whichever you want to call it. Get used to calling it both. Okay, we're going to put it on what's the 3rd fret. Here's the 1st, here's the 2nd, here's the 3rd. Even though I'm calling it on the 3rd fret, you're not on the 3rd fret, you're behind it. So you're in between the 2nd and 3rd. With a mandolin, frets being so close together, getting on behind it or on top of it is relatively difficult to do. But if you get on top of that fret, it's going to do that. If you come back a little bit, okay, and you only need to press as hard as you need to press in order to make the note sound. If you don't press hard enough here, you just keep pressing hard enough till both strings make the notes. Okay, and we need to arch our fingers. Okay, they need to be able to have like a little tiny car drive in between them like it's a tunnel. Okay, is that the way it is with all fingers? Yes, that's the way it is with all fingers. Okay, later we'll do something that involves you laying a finger across all the strings like this. That's called a bar, B-A-R-R-E, but that's not today. Okay, that's probably this week, but it's not today. Okay, so we have our 2nd finger, 3rd fret. You're usually going to have what are called fret markers on the 3rd, 5th, 7th fret, and so on. This one has one at the 1st. Some do, some don't. So don't take that for advantage that you're going to have one. You're going to look and go, okay, I do, or okay, I don't. But 3, 5, and 7, yeah, they're going to be there. So you're on your at least 1st dot or your 1st fret marker, but 3rd fret. Okay, if I hit the other strings next to it, not good. Okay, unless we put our next finger down. So my 1st finger or my index finger is going to go on the 2nd fret of the A strings. Okay, so now we have and try to get used to being able to play downward and or upward and being able to separate them, even though we are going to play them together because we're going to be strumming at the moment. Later we'll be picking. Picking is that stuff. Strumming. Okay, right now That is the entire G chord in the shape that we're going to use it. So you can play all 8 strings. If something sounds off or messed up or muted meaning that means you're not pushing down hard enough. Should you have to push down really hard? No, just hard enough again to make it happen. If you're having to push down ridiculously hard, yes, you're going to have little lines in your fingers like this. It's going to happen. No, even if you play every day for 50 years, that's going to happen. Okay? It doesn't mean it's going to hurt for 50 years. That means that maybe the action, which is how high the strings are off of the neck or the fingerboard or the frets, may be too high. And you'll have to adjust that via what are called these little thumb screws and lower it down, or have someone do it for you. If you lower it down too much, then the strings will be setting right on top of everything and nothing will be playable. Okay? That'll be just like if you had your finger right on top of all the frets. Okay, so our G chord we have now. Currently, we're going to be doing strums going down only. I'm playing on or above the fingerboard or the neck because I do not want it to sound like it does when you're way back here in the back. Sounds horrible like that, huh? The closer you get to that back there, the more tinny it will be and the more awful it will sound. There is a technique to playing closer to it, but that comes later, and of course I will show you that when the time comes. So we're going to, today, practice on doing 4 times. Now we're going to change chords and go to a C chord. Okay, so you might as well write this down. We are in the key of G. We're going to play 3 chords. G, C, and D. Might as well, like I said, write them down. Okay, will they be in that order? Maybe, but probably not necessarily. Now, they will probably be G, C, G, D. Then right back to G, C, G, D. It's the way most of the songs that you're going to play in this kind of music are going to be. Okay? So the C chord is exactly like this, except for we take these 2 fingers and we move them upward towards your face, 1 string each. So here on the high E string, that one's going to move up to where you already have a finger on there, but that finger that's on there is going to move up. So that's it. You just simply transfer them up 1 string each, and you play all 8 strings. Now the thing that's going to happen here is your finger here, your middle finger, is going to touch these high E strings, and it's going to mute them. It's going to shut them up. We don't want that to happen, but that is going to happen. That means that you don't have them arched enough. So you should not feel the vibration from these E strings vibrating against the bottom of your finger. You will, because everybody does. If you are muting them, you will not hear that. You're just going to hear you'll probably hear this. Okay, and that's expected. Otherwise I wouldn't mention it. But you need to arch and bend until they're not touching and all the strings are ringing. Okay, that's always important, more important than anything when we're playing. Okay, so once you get that down, Groovy. If that's all you can do for the day is those 2 chords, that's all you can do for the day. I'd rather you get them right, and that's all you can do for a month, than, you just half but do it for a day and then keep moving on. That gets you nowhere. Okay, so make sure you have it down and done before you move on. Again, it does you no good to skip ahead if you don't have it. No good. Okay, I know we all want to get good real quick, but so down strum 4 times on the G, 4 times on the C. When you have it, back to the G again, 4 times. Now we're going to go to the D. Okay, we're still going to use the same 2 fingers. Okay, our middle finger is going to go on fret number 2 on your high E strings. And now we're going to go all the way to the top on our G strings on fret number 2 as well. Okay, don't forget to arch, and nothing should be muted. And they look like this. They look like this. You have 2 sets of strings going under the tunnel. Okay, and 4 times there. Okay, so again, G 4 times, C 4 times, G 4 times, D 4 times, G 4 times, C 4 times, G twice, D twice, G twice. Okay, why twice? I'll let you know that later, but that's what we need. Okay, so if I was to be playing that faster, so now you can kind of hear why I split the difference between 2 times, on the G and then the D. Okay, now if we're doing a different strum, which I'll have you do later, which is down, up, actually down, up, down, up, down. Okay, that's where we're going to get. Only thing there is it's faster, and our picking style, we just added a few extra strums in, which I'll be teaching you. Okay, so that is plenty of information for the day. Tomorrow we're going to be learning 1 extra chord, and that will still be plenty, and I will also teach you that strumming pattern so you can work at your own pace to go faster, but at least you'll have the strumming pattern that I just showed you. But by teaching you 1 chord tomorrow, that means we'll be able to change the key of the song as well. I'll do a little singing for you so you can kind of hear how these go together as well. Okay, I'll go through what we just did, and then I will change it up and do a little more singing so you can hear how different songs go together. Okay, even though we're playing some of the same chords, how they're going to sound totally different within a different key. Okay, does it sound like Chinese to you so far? Yeah, it should. Okay, so anyway, I hope to catch you tomorrow or sometime very soon after you have mastered lesson number 1. Okay, once again, Scott Grove. Call myself Dr. Groovy, You can find me at groovymusiclessons.com, the home of 200 plus hours of lessons that you can download for only $25. And you get to keep them forever. You heard me correctly. Go check them out. Okay, catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye.